Hi, my name is Gabrielle Entile with Drug Topics, and today we're talking to Aman Brar, who is CEO of Jobvite, about the role of remote hiring in the healthcare industry amidst the pandemic. Um, Aman Brar, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, pleasure to be with you, Gabrielle. Thanks.
So, what are some companies that Jobvite is currently has as customers in the healthcare industry?
Yeah, so we have some of the largest, healthcare employers across the spectrum. Companies like, HCA and Ascension, all the way to Anthem, right? So there's we are pretty strong in hospitals and healthcare, and so you can imagine, that's been lots of interest in hiring in the healthcare workforce. I think the one thing that gets overlooked is it's some of it right now is not so much in every case about needing to hire dramatically, high numbers of new employees for some of these healthcare institutions. Some of it's about, how do you help them think about allocating their current people to a different problem, right? So imagine you're a company in the healthcare space, or in finance, or in any industry where, your physical presence has gone down, but now your virtual presence or your call center um, volume might be temporarily incredibly high these next few months. So how do you shift some of that, for example, more retail-oriented workforce and into a more, virtual kind of call center-like environment? So in a lot of cases, we're helping think through your current talent pool and how to reallocate internally, as well as how do you differentiate and hire more external help where needed.
So, what you've seen is the demand for healthcare jobs being met currently, or are pharmacies and the healthcare industry in general having a hard time filling available positions?
Yeah, I think healthcare, as we know, has been a very tight labor market even prior to the impact of COVID-19, and retail has also been a pretty tight labor market even prior to the impact of COVID-19. I think when you take the intersection of those two things, you're still left with a pretty tight labor market. The reality is, there are people that are unfortunately losing their employment opportunities right now. And some of that will be, are people going to make a temporary change in the type of work that they do? So, for example, you might have been in retail, and are you going to transition into delivery and driving and those types of things? So it's some of those, kind of the liquidity in the labor market is still working itself out right now. But I do think that there's going to continue to be shortages, even if temporarily things like elective procedures and other things are down. The reality is those procedures will come back, right? In the interim, we're trying to allocate resources to the biggest problem facing us right now with COVID.
So, while the healthcare industry is in desperate need of a high volume of healthcare workers, how can JobVite also help those hiring find also the right person for the job when there's also an immediate need?
Yeah, it's interesting. When you think about healthcare, let's just take a hospital. Many of them kind of operate like mini cities, right? You have everything from janitorial to food services to nutrition to healthcare delivery to sanitation. So you're right. Even the term healthcare is such a broad term of the folks, really valued people that participate in that ecosystem. So I think how we're helping is through virtualizing the talent acquisition process, right, which we've kind of done through software, leveraging the latest and greatest in technology with things like SMS and automated screening processes and video, et cetera. And then ultimately, how can we help leverage your current talent pool, your current employees to find more external available employment? So getting to the right job has to do with, are you developing effective interview structures? Are you really thinking about the right skills? In some of our tools, we have things like questions libraries that map to particular roles. And so how are we using analysis and sentiment analysis and otherwise to match the right opportunity to the right person? So I think your point's very pertinent. In healthcare, there are lots of kind of jobs and opportunities in that space, and finding the right person with that right opportunity. One of the things I've been really excited to see is our clients and others are doing a lot to invest in skilling up their labor force. So there's examples of healthcare groups that you might come in at a certain level of a job, and then after a certain amount of time, they're investing in training to help you move up into higher income roles within those healthcare firms. So an example of that would be IU Health, Indiana University Health is doing some really novel programs in that regard that we're really excited about.
So, and then a little bit beyond the current pandemic, how are those seeking jobs are often told to stand out from their competition. So, how can job seekers effectively stand out to recruiters or recruiting sites within a more remote hiring process?
Yeah, I think one of the things I always encourage folks is not to kind of overdame the system. So even though lots of technology is being utilized, I really think it's about let's take a digital interview kind of concept. One of the things I always recommend is, hey, you certainly want to be succinct and you want to answer the question as directly as possible. But at the end of the day, expressing personality, can still be effective and matter. And so I think it's about not forgetting that you're a human and that ultimately you're going to work with humans, and so not losing what you want to express about who you are through that digital or remote interviewing process. So I'd say keep who you are kind of front and center through the process.
And then, how do you see Jobvite changing and improving the hiring process after the pandemic ends, hopefully?
Yeah, so I think there'll be um, uh, new and differentiated stories about how companies cared for their employees, for example, about how companies adapted, scalable processes with regard to recruitment. And I think there'll be an opportunity to really share a lot of best practices. And I think we'll learn a lot about what does it mean to care for our employees in this day and age. And I think those companies that are doing it right now will have great stories to tell, and we'll be able to help them create some separation from their competitors by harnessing those stories and really empowering their employment brand, empowering their recruitment capabilities with those stories that they're creating right now.
Aman, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks so much, Gabrielle. I appreciate it. Have a great day.